not your first time working with Amazon Prime Video. And I know that you've also been on the other shows with them as well. So what was it like coming back again? Like a feeling of like coming back home?
It is actually the feeling of coming back home. And it's an internal joke that if nobody hires me, at least Amazon will. So, in fact, I had a great time associating with Amazon on Inside Edge, and it was very different. And it was a very different show because it was a world of men, which is the world of cricket. And there were only two women who were sort of not lost, but holding their ground, but struggling to hold their ground. Here it was walking into a women's loo, right? I mean, you're really comfortable, and you know, associating with women. I've actually, Anu is my 13th woman director, and every single time, I'm just so amazed by the authenticity and the vulnerability and the power and strength that goes in the writing when a woman is writing it, and a woman is directing it, and a woman is running the show. And this was extremely different from Inside Edge, but honestly, I can't wait to watch the show and get back to shooting the next season because it really was, we had a ball. It was a party, really. Thank you.
It already looks like a lot of fun, so I'm sure once we do start watching it, we will get into that world. Bani, the character that you are playing over here, and so Umang is her name, right? And she seems like a very bindas, chilled out chick. I mean, I know a lot of us are very chilled out, and you are also in real life. Or would that, do you think there is like a similarity between how you are in real life and your character?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely related a lot with Umang as a character, and I think that's why I also just agreed to do the show when I read about her character. I mean, I didn't have any hesitations with it. I was like, yeah, let's just do this. There needs to be a character like this for mainstream Indian watching to be available. I was just like, there's no character like this. We haven't had one like this. We haven't had somebody who's even slightly known playing a character like this. You know, written by a female, about a female, telling the story from a female point of view. You guys are going to get so sick of hearing this, but we want you to know our side of the story. So it's just really important, and I was just like, you know, I felt really up to playing it, and I would not have done it if I didn't think that I could do justice to it. So I just went in without any reservations whatsoever, because I was like, that is how I live my life, without any reservations whatsoever. I want to bring that to Umang as her character, and just, yeah, kick it in the balls, man. That's what I did.
As you just said in the trailer and told us as well. Kirti, for you, you're playing this, and it really does come across as a fiercely independent single parent.
Badass.
A badass? Is that what she gets called?
A lovable badass.
A lovable badass single parent. And what was it like for you to put yourself in that position? Put yourself in those shoes. I know that for all of us, all our characters don't have to be a reflection of our personality, and then we have to get into those shoes.
Firstly, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this very, very special day, and so thank you. Coming to my character of Anjana, playing a single parent who is extremely independent and you know, who comes across as someone who knows what she's doing, and you know, who knows where she's heading in life. Firstly, I think just the fact that you're an actor, you know, you don't, people ask you like, how did you play this or how did you play that? But I think that's a very basic answer to that is, I'm an actor and I'm supposed to play anything and everything that comes my way. Of course, I'm not a parent myself. Of course, I'm not a single parent at all. So I just played it the way I would play any character. Yes, there was a child involved, but you know, I personally feel I'm very good with kids. So for me, that thing towards kids comes to me very, very easily. And I don't know how, and how the makers could see that in me. She is going to be a good mother. Let's take her for Anjana. So I have still not figured that. Sorry? Hot mother. Okay. So I think it's you see what you see in terms of that's just one side of Anjana in terms of whatever you just called her, but there is this other side to her which is as vulnerable, as insecure, as complex, as and as flawed as any of us sitting here. So I had a great time exploring Anjana through Kirti and finding Kirti through Anjana. I think that's a very, that's how I would like to put it. And let's see what she finally looks like.
Let's hope that she finds her way home. Oh, okay. I haven't seen the show. Okay, Manvi, this is for you. And Siddhi's character, she comes across as young, vulnerable. I mean, this is just what I'm basing a little bit on what I saw. But what was it about her, that character, that attracted you to her? She's looking at you.
For one, I just wanted to be a part of this project. By hook or by crook, I wanted to, because it was just, I mean, again, I'm sorry for repeating it, but just so many women together in this time and age, and it's just such an exciting time to be working together, and it's that synergy that we felt on set, which I didn't know initially before getting in. I was hoping that would be there, and it was. So it was basically the project which attracted me to it. Besides that, then the names involved with the project, which is all these faces that you're seeing right next to me. And then about Siddhi and this. But this came in later, right? And then, of course, about Siddhi, what I found very exciting personally as an actor was that I had never played a character which was vulnerable, which was externally, overtly very subservient and, sorry? Innocent. No, I've played innocent characters before, but just, yes? I'm the
Hi, mom, hi, dad.
yes, a virginal character. And yeah, and her she's very, internally, she's very complex, I feel, as a character, Siddhi. And I just wanted to get into that, just jump into that psyche of all the complexities that she comes with. And that was really exciting for me. I think I might have overthought also in the process, but I'm hoping it shows. So, yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from the cast over here. And taking off on the previous conversation that we were having, just one quick question for each of you as well. Anu, when you came on board, were you always very clear that this would be a show about women?
I think the show has amazing men. I mean, and they, as you've seen, you've got a thing. So, I mean, I don't think it's about just being, women, but I think women and men have to coexist. So, obviously, the protagonists are women. Yeah. So, I think once you become a director, then you're telling a story. So, I think to me, it was about, telling a story. And just what I also, I think, found very powerful was, the unapologetic nature of, storytelling. And to say it as it is. So there's no sort of euphemisms, there's no double meaning. It's, stuff we talk about in, when friends get together, with things that, we talk in the loo or when we get drunk. So in that sense, you wanted to capture the energy of friendship. So I think I just followed, and to be honest, I remember reading the script, and I remember reading the opening scene, and texting Rongita and saying, I'm like, you have to, get me on this. Because I enjoyed it so much, because it's so front-footed, fun, and so confident. And I think it's very, it was, as I said, I've said that before, it was a great experience and very liberating to direct a show like this.
Thank you. Ishita, this one's for you. As a writer, how did you make sure that this show also steps apart from other shows in this genre?
I think this is, it is the most real and the closest to me that I have it's like, it's a show after my heart. This is the closest to reality that it's ever gotten for me. I actually identify a lot with Siddhi's character and also a bit with Damini's character, and I'm sure that when you guys watch the show, you'll also relate to not just one, but more than one, maybe several, maybe all. So this stands apart because it wasn't like constructed writing. It was, the language was real, the banter was real. We tried for it to cut as close to the bone as possible, and like she said, there were no euphemisms. So, yeah.
A realistic and a strong approach to each of the characters that
Absolutely.
we have. Thank you. And this one is for you, Aparna. Why did you choose to open 2019 with this show?
What better way to start the new year than to celebrate the spirit of womanhood, celebrate friendship, celebrate flaws, celebrate these women who are unapologetic, liberated, uninhibited, competitive, and have a mind.
2019 is going to be the year for women in cinema. I definitely think so.
Well begun.
Women everywhere. And that's why we've started it on that note. Rangita, which of the characters is that one character that you feel that you relate to? It doesn't mean it's your favorite. It just means that you relate to.
Apart from the Virgin, all of the others. Apart from that one. But genuinely, I think that's what Moitra also said. There are actually two Ishitas on this, so I'm going to call her Moitra. I think the beauty of it is that you're going to identify with each one of these girls on a different day. It depends on what mood you're watching this show in, at what time of the day, at what time of the night, and you're going to want to be these girls. For me, that was it. I'm living vicariously through them.
As sometimes we do through a lot of characters that we do see on TV. And Devika, last one for you. What was one of the most memorable experience, or like the most memorable scene, I guess without giving too much away as well? But something that, that moment that happened when you were writing it and you were like, yes, we're on the right road. You don't have to get into the details of the scene, because obviously we don't want to take away from anything.
I think as a writer, there are some scenes which, when you're writing them, you don't even realize where they're going, because you're letting them take you with them on that ride, and the characters are taking you on that journey. So it wasn't just one scene. It was quite a few scenes where, because we were putting so much of ourselves into it, There's quite a few scenes where, I would write it, and then I would, later turn to my husband and say, by the way, I've put a little bit of our life in here, and you're gonna see it. And so it wasn't just one scene. It was a lot of scenes where you just sit back and say, this, like Ishita was saying, you finally, I was finally getting a chance to put my life, my friends' lives, experiences, people that you've met, people that you know, people that you love, right there.
That's a lovely note for us to end that Q&A with.
I just want to add something.
Sure.
And since Devika was the last person who asked the question to,
yeah.
We all keep saying we have to give more importance to writing, but we don't do enough about it. And I think everything that Amazon sort of has backed and sort of created till now has had a foundation of really good writing. And I have to say this, the first time I was reading the script, I could not, Rangita had sent it to me, I could not put the script down. I was feeling the emotions exactly, Pat, as was on paper, and it was exhilarating. And I would have to say that Devika and Ishita, it's one of the best, most translucent, fluid scripts I have ever read in my life. And thank you for giving us that material. Thank you.
You can keep that, sorry. There's only that many mics I can hold right now. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from all the women, and you might have some questions. We're going to open the floor, but before I do that, once again, can I please invite Mr. Pritish Nandi, if you can come and join us onto the stage, and Mr. Vijay Subramaniam, both of you. Let's have the men come once again, because we, of course, want the entire team together of 4 more shots, please. So while they say their hi, hellos, ladies and gentlemen, this is that moment where we will, if you have any questions for our cast and crew, I'm sure what you could do is raise your hand if you have a question, and then we will give you an opportunity to ask the question as well. Would be wonderful if you also introduced yourself and told us which publication you're from. So if you have, I think I asked way too many questions. Sometimes this is also what happens. But I know that all of you will have something to ask over there. So to the gentleman over there, I know that it's a little dark in the audience, but I'll let you know where the question's coming from every time. So could you raise your hand once more? Yes, please.
How important was it to have this story told from a female's point of view?
Who are you directing the question to?
The director.
Okay, so to Anu.
Anu, how important was it for the story to be told from a female's or a women's point of view?
I think, the female narrative is finally gaining ground. For a longest time, we saw, the female protagonist or women-centered films and stuff like that, where it was always about, men deciding, what women want. There was always that male gaze through which, it was seen. For example, you've seen there is a lot of sex in the show. And the way women write about sex and the way men write about sex is very different. Like when you see on screen, sex is done to women, they're either sort of objectified or it's kind of something, a negative experience. But here, all the women own it. So I think the female narrative, is very important because, we are not underdogs, we are not just victims, and we don't exist only in the context of patriarchy. So I think we are just, every day I don't get up and I think, oh my God, I have to fight patriarchy. I'm just, getting up and, getting on with my, and I think that sort of, front-footed storytelling is what I think makes the female narrative different. And the joy. So I think it's time for us to, tell our own stories.
But let that not intimidate you men folk who are here. It's a delightful show for men to watch. It's the ultimate show for warriors as well. To peek into the lives of women and discover what it is to be one. And we have some marvelous men on the show too, which we haven't talked about. Milind Soman, Pratik Babbar, Neil Bhopalan. They're marvelous, marvelous actors, and they play very, very important roles in the film. Please realize that. That's important so that you get the context right. The men are there. The men are there. Don't worry.
Some great men are there. And to all the actresses, how was the experience shooting for this series in an all-women crew? Was it different from the other films and the other projects that you have done?
I'll have to say this, that when you are in a room full of women, the gaze is very different. And in storytelling, gaze is one of the most important and basic things that we often lack, And a lot of scripts that come our way as actors have a little bit of skewed gaze sometimes, which makes it difficult for us to sort of break the status quo and put the female parts in the narrative, which is as relevant and as authentic. So the writing was already so strong, and everything that happens in our specific arcs, every character is, extremely, it's whole. They all have journeys and graphs vis-a-vis the friendship which is together. So it wasn't very difficult, but it was different because you were in a room full of women who just understood you. It's just a very unsaid sort of sisterhood, and I don't know how to explain it in words because it's something.
No, there was just complete comfort. Like there were times we didn't even realize how comfortable we'd gotten with each other, and suddenly we were like, did we just do that? Did we just say that to each other in a huge room full of women? And also I think from the point of the script till the execution till today, we've literally, I think all of us, we've held each other's hands, and we have supported each other. We've fought. We have had great times. We have, I mean, it's been such a lovely roller coaster. Like, it's brilliant. Like, I think, and you know, I was just watching we were watching the trailer from the wings over there, and I just saw it all culminating into that thing on the screen, and it was beautiful. Like, and it's not even about men or women. It was just a bunch of very intelligent, hardworking people who got along, and just supported each other and collectively made something which I hope you find as special as we do. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. My question to all the star cast. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The trailer was very excited. I saw the excitement. I just want to know how excited you all were when during the shoot, and can you share some experience of it?
I think, Bani, you should start.
All right, I'll start. I was super excited from the first day that I got the script and I read it. My first meeting with Rangita and Ishita in Bandra was pretty awesome. Bandra, not South Bombay. What's up, man? Negotiations started right there. It's an inside joke, sorry guys. So basically, I absolutely loved meeting them. And it felt like when this project came to me, I felt like I was waiting for it for like a couple of years. I was literally waiting for a show like this to happen, and I was literally waiting for someone to come and approach me for it, and it was them too. And it was awesome, and I never thought I'd say no to it. Like, I was just like, yes, I'll do it. Let's go. Like, now. And they were like, no, you're the first person we've cast. We have to cast everybody else. And I was like, what? I thought you were ready. Like, let's shoot. Like, next week, let's go. I was so ready for it. So I was as excited as I am right now. On day one, when I was the only person that was like being cast for it. As excited. So yeah, that's my story.
I think it was, it's been a super exciting ride actually. We were all together for like some 4 months, right?
You sound more excited.
I just underplay it. I'm a very subtle actor.
This is true.
So I remember one thing that really excited me and kept exciting me at every step along the way is when Rangita and Ishita first approached me for this, and I was not so sure because I'm like, I was not sure of playing a single mom, to be very honest. To play a mom, actually, forget about a single mom. But, and that's, completely to do with my own insecurities as an actor and the fact that I operate in an industry where, where people see you on screen and they think this is who you are, this is how old you are, and this is what you can play. So it was, so I was very, very apprehensive about it till, my own husband reminded me that, listen, you're an actor. You claim to be an actor. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to show that you are an actor, and not think about these stupid things. So when Rangita Ishita came, I was like, okay, female producers, interesting. When I said yes to it, I was like, female director, wow, very interesting. Then I met the writers. I was like, ye bhi female. I was like, kya baat hai? Then I met the DOP. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting too much. Ladkiyan to hain hi, upar se everybody else is also, a female. I don't know how this is going to be with so many women together. At the bottom of my heart, I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And I think that's exactly what happened. I have never had more fun on any other shoot. And it was just actually very, very surreal, just being with so many women around you all the time. And I think we got along in a way which is very, very miraculous. Like, it just happened. It was magical. And just all I feel for all these women, I felt then and I feel that even more today, is loads of love and loads of respect for everything that we are and everything that we do. So more power to us.
All right, we have a question over there. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jigar. My first question is to the entire cast right here. Right? Congratulations, the trailer looks nice, and more power to you all.
Thank you.
Your characters have an individuality. I mean, each of you depicts something. And a lot of women out there want to be the way like you are. but they are not able to because of some societal reasons. So individually, what do you characters want to convey in your scale? That's the first question, and I'll come to the second for the writers.
So, yeah, like you said, there are things that every woman would see in our character, all our characters, and would want. There are things that are aspirational. There are things that they would even relate to. There are issues that they would relate to, and so I'll just come to my character. So you know, so Siddhi is she's a very. I mean, she doesn't know who she is yet. She's been every time at every stage of her life, she's been told what she is. She's been told what to do, how to be, what to eat, how to dress, and she's constantly looking for that validation, which she's not got from that one source, which is her primary caregiver. You know, which forms the core of every relationship that she henceforth begins. So now that is the crux of her character, and I'm hoping that you'll see through the show, and I'm hoping women and girls who face issues like that, who don't know who they are, who don't know how to even explore themselves, will find that strength and that confidence to not seek external validation, to have this confidence within themselves, to be okay in being lost, to be okay in not fitting into any of the labels that society gives you or your friends give you or whatever, you know. Just that inner strength of finding yourself and having that confidence of just being who you are, irrespective of whether it fits into a mold or not.
For Damini, I remember Rongita called me initially for another part, and then, you know, I was actually in love with the 4 girls so much, and secretly, I actually fell in love with Damini. And I think if you put something out in the universe with the right intent, somehow it might sort of come true. On the 1st of Jan, 2018, I get a call in the evening, and I remember exactly where I was sitting in which friend's house. And I got the call, and I was like, Rongita is really not my friend to call and wish me Happy New Year. So I took the call, and I was like, oh, hi, Happy New Year, really sweet of you to call. And Rongita is like, what are your dates like? The next 3 months. And I was like, oh, why? And she said, well, are you interested in Damini? And I was like, what are you saying? So I start talking like Bani sometimes. But, you know, once I read Damini again, I couldn't believe that actually I was being offered such an author-back part, but also somebody who's so fierce, independent, but also as flawed and vulnerable and childlike. And she is very political. She's very righteous. She calls a spade a spade. She's very effervescent, but also completely unapologetic. And I sort of saw a lot of similarity between Shayoni and Damini. And you know, honestly, like, as actors, like Kirti was saying, you're constantly sort of looking for that opportunity where you can just do that little bit more, you know, where you can actually create layers and make it more interesting. I actually drove Anu pretty nuts with that. But I was so excited that I remember going to set on the first day of shoot, and we were shooting for Anjana's house. And I couldn't sit still. I remember Neil Bhupalam, my friend, he was like, are you okay? I've never seen you like this. And I was like, you know, I'm very excited always to go on set and start a new day or a new film or a new show. But that day, I don't know what I felt, was just this weird energy from my gut. I was like, I can't wait to play Damini. I can't just wait to be her. And I think Shayoni also vicariously, there are so many things that you want to stand for, you want to put your foot in there and say, you know what, enough is enough, no more. And Damini has the power and the strength and the spine to do that. And I'm so proud that these girls actually created her and gave it to me to play her. Thank you.
And what may especially interest all of you is that she actually plays a journalist.
Yes. And Sir was actually a big inspiration. Yeah, it was. We had lots to discuss, actually.
Women down there, you all have acted in this film. Do you think this is going to take off in Orthodox India? And what other plans are there in future? Y'all are representing the mega cities down here. How about the rural areas also? Will y'all come out in films like that?
Well, I'll try and answer that to the best of my ability. I do believe that the future lies with, you mentioned films, but this is actually a series. The future lies with content that looks at what we are. Very often, the content that we see in cinema or in series is what we want to be. The hero is always who we want to be. The heroine always that pretty little wallflower we want to be. Here is a show about people who are as they are. And as you've heard frequently, the characters say, they're flawed, but they're wonderful. So I think more of Indian content will explore people as they are and capture the variety, the magic, the mystique of what we are as people. Women largely and men too. Secondly, to answer the second part of your question, we have hundreds of films which have been made and lots of content which has been made for what you call rural India, but I would call tier 2, tier 3 populations. They have television to watch, they have movies to watch. It's, I think, an opportunity to tell urban stories too. And we in PNC have been telling urban stories from the very beginning. That's what we are best at. So we have stuck to what we know, not what we think we know.
I'm sorry, ladies, just 1 second, because I would really like Mr. Subramaniam to answer this question as well, because, you know, the platform has had both. We've seen other shows, we've seen this show, so I think it would be very interesting to have the answer from you as well, sir.
So, you know, in addition to everything that Pratish said, a couple of things, we look at it from the lens of the story itself. You know, we celebrate diversity. And so here was a great story that had an urban setting and had women at the center of it. We loved it. So sure, if tomorrow we have a similar opportunity to tell a story that comes from the heartland, of course we'll embrace it. Just as a perspective, on Prime Video you have films like Tumhari Sullu, Lipstick Under My Burqa. You know, these are all examples of really, really strong women-centric subjects, and they're all available to our customers exclusively on the service. So our perspective has always been story first, and we remain committed to that. And we will, at any given point in time, celebrate diversity. We are looking for authentic, unique stories. So there's no stopping us from doing exactly what you said, as if the right story comes along.
Also, if I may add to that, you know, I did a film called Parched, which was actually about a group of women, female friends, who were in a village setup, but they were as liberated and as wacky and as confident and as beautiful and authentic as these 4 women, you know? So it's actually not what is not important is the setting. What is important is how authentically you tell the story that you've set out to tell, you know?
All right. Do you want to add something to that?
I also feel that, I mean, we often talk about this, 2 Indias existing, India and Bharat, and urban and rural and all of that. That is also one of the central tracks, the tracks that we follow, because this is a story of 4 women who are constantly fighting that battle of traditionalism versus modernity. Because they've been brought up with certain values, and now they're beginning to question those values because they're living their life on their own terms, which seems to be contradictory to what they've been brought up with. I mean, and these are things that we struggle with daily, like women today, whether in a mega city like Bombay or Delhi, or in a rural 2-tier, 3-tier city. But we're constantly fighting this battle of where are we, what do we do, and what are our values, and questioning those and stuff. And also, I feel that in speaking, in case, I mean, we've always, if we talk of feminism and we talk of the bra-burning feminism, I feel that was important for us to be where we are today. So if something seems extreme, it will trickle down to something maybe much less extreme, but as important. And I say trickle down only because we're talking about socio-economic hierarchy. So, I mean, not to say urban is better than rural or the other way around. But so it will eventually be soaked in to the other parts as well in whatever capacity. So I think it's important, everything that we are trying to say, everything that other women, men, all the stories, all narratives have to be heard. They're important to be heard and then listened to, and then we can all take a call on what it is that we think is right and what is wrong, in my opinion.
Can I just add? Is this working?
Please. Yes, it's working.
I think urban and rural are distinctions that we make based on geography. I think women are the same all around. Okay, I think, thank you. I genuinely think that there are women with ambition there are women who don't feel loved, there are plenty single moms in rural situations who are struggling with their drunk husbands who never come home, and there are plenty women who masturbate there as well. So it's pure geography that you're defining women by, and I think if there's anything that 2018 has proven to us, is that you can't put us in a box.
And that just sealed the question right there. Stamped, sealed, and delivered. We have time for that one last question, which is coming from the lady at the back. I'll come to you, sir, because you had a chance. But we have a woman at the back over there. Yes.
This is my question for Aparna. As content head in Amazon, I mean, what is making you select such diverse topics? And this one especially where you're talking about women power and women empowerment, and you have an all-women crew on this particular series.
I think all our choices are determined by what consumers are seeking. We really work backwards from what are the kind of stories that people want to watch and are not getting. So I think that really helps us make our choices. This story, as I mentioned in the beginning, where do we see women like this on screen? You know, women who are flawed, as Rangita puts it. They are women who are work in progress. They've still not reached perfection. They are not aspiring for perfection. They celebrate these flaws. We just had to tell the story. And the fact that there are all these women behind this show, telling this show, what better way to bring in the female gaze that we talk about than this? We had to tell the story.
All right. And ma'am, you had a question.
And where would we be without women with flaws, without flaws? Flawed women are the most exciting women in the world.
All humans.
And all women are flawed.
It's the representation which is untrue.
Vijay might like to start that.
You know, I couldn't be more fortunate that I'm actually a part of this story. I mean, I can put down many things that I believe are my own accomplishments, but this is really the right on top of that list. It just tells us that I don't think we should even take ourselves as seriously as we do as Indian men. They can do perfectly fine without us. They're just being accommodating and taking us along. That's the long and short of it. It was absolutely fantastic, and seriously, I mean, as an Indian man, supposedly woke and all of that, it pays to be a wallflower. Let them be. And I believe the future belongs to the Indian women, and so this was a great opportunity to put my name against that.
Over your right at the back.
Yeah, but we let Mr. Nandi just answer that as well, since it was also posed to him.
Well, I think I am the man I am because of the women in my life. The women I've met, known, loved, left, loved again, married. So that's true for most of us men. We are the products of the women around us. So it was a delight working with this team.
Thank you. And so the last question for you. Yeah.
Right at the back, my question is to the writer and director. Firstly, kudos on the trailer. The show looks really good. And more importantly, we need such stories, such content in our society. Secondly, the question is about the title. It's very unique, innovative, trendy. But how did you all come upon the title? Was it a spur of the moment decision because it's trendy?
That's Rangita's question. We were actually having shots when they're like,
No. I think this actually started with a friend of mine, a very old and dear friend of mine, and we were talking about making something about women. And she was giving me all these really sad stories about the state of women in India and all that stuff, and we were having a ball telling these stories while we were getting dead drunk. And at the end of that evening, I remember looking at her and say, hey, why can't we just tell a story about 4 women who have fun and have these crazy lives which are flawed and all of the stuff that you've heard everybody say over here, and raise a toast to that. And we were drinking, that's where the title came up, and therefore 4 more shots, please.
And also to Kriti and Mr. Subramaniam, how has the collaboration been?
Well, I'm delighted by the collaboration. I'm not so sure Vijay would say the same.
You know, we couldn't ask for better partners, and I know this sounds a little cliched, but I actually want to thank the early creators who saw the opportunity and the vision and believed in Prime Video at such a nascent stage. You know, I can't emphasize this enough. Starting off, it was really hard for most creators to understand what exactly are we trying to achieve in India. What does customer centricity and variety mean? Is this sustainable? What does cinematic television mean? And so on and so forth. And here we have the early, bold, brave ones who just stepped into the great unknown, or as they say in Star Trek, boldly go where no man had ever gone before. That applies to Pritish. So, you know, we're very happy that they came and created a path along with us. You know, so I think regardless of how many other projects we do and how many seasons this goes into, I think and I say this on behalf of the entire team at Amazon, we'll always be grateful to the early creators to step forward and believe in our vision.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you. And then on that note...
I wanted to add something. I just wanted to add
something.
Sorry. If there's one production house that has delivered everything to us, the scripts, the cuts, everything before time, it is Pritish Nandi Communications. We are so fortunate to be working with you guys.
And can I please say something? I don't know what the deal is, but I really want to call, please, I want to call the DOP of the film on stage.
So would I.
And